Welcome to the Carousel, where we discuss all kinds of nerd ephemeria, but mostly video games, TV, movies, and when we aren't devolving into... wow.
You stick to.
Okay. Welcome to
I'm
the...
just kidding. Just fucking run with it.
Okay.
You haven't gotten it right since we started the show.
No.
Why would we bother?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Not at all. Not even close. This is the Carousel. I am John, also known as Musum. With me, I have Jake.
Did I ever, have I ever told the stink bug story? I keep meaning to, and then something keeps coming up.
I have no idea.
Okay, so we, apparently, in like the last year, stink bugs have invaded the greater Chicagoland area. Supposedly they stink. I can't smell them if they do. So really, they're just annoying... stupid insects to me, and you know they're dumb, but they're heavy. So like they'll try and fly through a window, but they'll thunk, and you'll hear them bounce off the window and hit the floor from across the room. Like they're not big, but they're thick, and they're annoying, and you can't keep them out. I guess you could caulk up your entire house, but that's not feasible for me. So I have to keep everything closed, and when the weather gets warm or, it's getting to be wintertime in the fall, they start showing up, and you'll find 5, 6 of them. And it feels really wasteful to flush them down the toilet, so I just have to pitch them off my balcony, and they don't care. They just fall and they land on their back, and then they lay there for a while. But there was one night I was sitting here, and, I don't turn the lights on when I'm home because I have all these monitors and TVs and stuff, and that's what they're there for. And I'm sitting here, and, bugs are attracted to light sources, and this motherfucker bounces into the monitor, bounces off my face, and then lands in my beer. And I was like, fucking enough is enough. So I got an indoor bug zapper. Do you know that's a thing? They make indoor bug zappers.
Hasn't like one of those things that you hang up that emits electricity and...
Yeah, and just blows bugs the fuck up.
Creates that really annoying hum.
Yeah, this one's small enough that it doesn't have a big hum, and I have it across the room to where I think they're coming in. And so I don't leave it on every night. I only put it on when they're kind of bad, and I say 3 or 4 during the day, or I can hear them thumping against the blinds. So I had it on one night, and I had forgotten I turned it on. And about an hour later, I just hear this pop. I was like, what? And of course, after I shit myself, I remembered what it was. And I was like, well, that was super loud. I got to see what it did to this thing. Like, is it just like confetti or like a paintball hit the inside of this thing? What did it do to this bug? So I turn the lights on, and I go over there, and I look in the tray, and it's not in the tray. And I'm looking at the actual, like, bulbs, and it's not in the bulbs. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to this thing? Did it bounce off and land around? It's nowhere near any of the bug zapper, not under anything. So I'm left with 2 conclusions, and one is that it literally vaporized this thing, or it like I'm gonna have to dig it out of the ceiling at some point when I'm moving out or something.
Jeez,
it's fucked up. Stink bugs, real tough. They take a lot of juice, I guess, to put them down.
That's fucked up. That sucks.
It sucks for him.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
also not great for my power bill. Speaking of power. That's a thing. You pick up orbs of that shit in your Tenno, do you not?
Oh, yeah, I guess there's energy. So they released Warframe: The Sacrifice, the newest story content for the game. They call them cinematic quests, I guess.
That's a weird name.
Well, they're trying to differentiate it because they're about to. Like later this year, they're gonna introduce a second open world area on Venus, for instance. So they want you to acknowledge the difference between those two things. And they have like Warframe quests too, which are kind of typically go here, hear a little story, do a mission you've already done before, and get a part, kind of thing. So
Now you've already been. I mean, they've hit the whole solar system, right? There's like 70 different worlds you can go to now, isn't there? They must have done something on Venus already.
I mean, there's not 70 worlds. There's, there's the most of the solar system and a few of the moons, and each of those areas has, a dozen places you can go to.
That's what I'm saying. You open it up, and to like go to your level select, it looks like a fucking Excel spreadsheet because it's just like boxes, just wall-to-wall boxes.
Well, because their UI designer just loves doing that. He doesn't want you to have any ability to read where you're going, so he literally just puts the name in rows, so you have to choose that way.
What use is information if you can parse it?
Yeah, no. So this, you basically have to do every story quest in the game to get this. Like, the only quest I haven't done was the one to get the music frame that I can't remember the name of at the moment. But I think
what is the music frame?
I can't remember its name. There's a frame whose main shtick is they basically give you a really rudimentary sequencer, and you choose a song for your powers, and each power is a different. Like one power is the bass line, one power is the drums, one power is the lead, one power.
I bet that sounds awesome.
Well,
I bet all your teammates love that frame.
No one plays with me on there, so I wouldn't know.
I bet it sounds like the first, when your 3.5-year-old nephew or whatever gets his first Casio with like the drum cymbal thing and the buttons at the top, and it's just you dudes running around, boom, tss, boom, 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 tss, tss, boom.
Actually, you probably could make that beat you just did, but like they make it like you don't get a lot of choice. Like the sequencer's there, but you're only going to choose. Like they very limit what you can choose. The only notes you can choose are on. I don't remember what key they put it in, but it's a pentatonic scale, so literally no notes you hit together will sound bad together. And since most people can only summon, like when you're playing, you're more likely not going to use all 4 of your powers at once. You're going to use like 1 or 2 or 3. And like it's very much, it's not like the whole arena's hearing you. It's all very area focused. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's old content. It's neat that they put that in the game, but that's old content. So Warframe the Sacrifice picks up after the last quest. They're kind of doing this, like they do a mission that's seemingly unrelated, and then they have like kind of a serial thing that happens at the end. This one in particular is after something they introduced a couple years ago, and they only gave it to China, and that's called Umbra. And then they proceeded not to give it to us. There's like an Excalibur Umbra frame. It just looked like a slightly different Excalibur, and they just were trying to decide what they wanted the Umbra system to be.
I need you to turn some of this into English.
Okay. Okay. So
like, don't go on a deep dive. But what the fuck? What is an Umbra system?
That's just the. Okay, so Excalibur is one of the frames, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Umbra is just a version of that frame. So this story DLC is entirely about Umbra. So I got to be careful about what I spoil and what I don't in this.
So we're talking. So when you were first describing this Chinese Umbra, this Chinese Umbral system, I got the impression that it was like maybe ended up being cosmetic. But you're saying it's like sort of an alternate power set for each frame.
It's only for one frame right now.
But it's an idea that you're sort of almost like dual specking or something.
Like it looks different. It has. I haven't used Excalibur in a long time. I meant to use it before this cast because I think they did tweak some of his powers. He came. Okay, so first off, they straight up like this is the easiest. Like aside from signing up from the game and getting a Warframe, this is the easiest Warframe you will ever get. They give you a fully maxed out Warframe in this quest, and that Warframe comes with 2 Umbra mods. And I am not done a deep dive on these mods, but they are like they essentially give you additional powers. Like the ones I got, I think give you additional powers depending on what enemies I'm fighting.
That's weird.
So like I get additional powers if I fight sentients, for instance, which are a really annoying enemy in the game that change what element they're weak to, like every so often. And I know everyone on Reddit says, "Oh, just use your Lex Prime and they're gone in 5 seconds." I've never had that experience.
That's what I would have said.
That's never my experience. It always takes forever. I always wind up like maxing out every element I have equipped with me, and then just have to sit there and hit them for 5 minutes until they die because they can't kill me, typically. Anyway, so like I think it's like usually when they give you a free frame, they piecemeal it to you and you have to craft it. This one is basically instantaneous. But this is the best cinematic story they have ever done in this game. Like I am so excited about what they did in this cinematic story that as much as I hate to be a tool and say it, I want them to go and do this with every single frame.
Isn't that like 90 frames?
Yeah, there's like 20 or 30 of them, yeah. So,
okay.
Like, it'll take forever. And
also, I found it funny that you said that this is the easiest frame in the game to get, but you also have to have every quest in the game done first. Like,
yeah.
As long as you've dumped 700 hours into this game, this is super easy. All you have to do is dump in, like, 20 work weeks.
Realistically, you could probably get to it in 40 to 60 hours. But
so just take a week and a half of vacation, do nothing but play Warframe, and you'll be good.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'd spend your time wisely. But I don't want to give away the whole thing. It only takes about an hour, a little bit more than an hour to play through it. If you don't want to see it or play through it, like my John Musum Twitch channel, like I did it, and you can hear what parts I liked and what parts I cussed about. But it was really cool. The added functionality of the Warframe with your operators really appreciated, and anytime they kind of put you in danger when you're on your ship is also really cool too. That has happened in a couple quests now. So the first time it happened, it was cool, and then the mechanic they wanted to do, I kept failing over and over, so it quickly became annoying.
Your ship's very small. That seems like that would be tough to sort of do too much with.
It's not a typical, like, it is very much a...
Your ship becomes a pocket dimension.
You know what? I'll use the Microsoft guys' language. It very much becomes a Sony game, like a character action game where your actions are restricted in this one moment and you're kind of operating under very specific circumstances with very specific mechanics.
It's a QTE. Okay.
Not quite. It's not a QT. You're still moving around. It's an Uncharted. It's an Uncharted. Okay. That's how it operates. But anyway,
Warframe Uncharted.
Yeah.
That's actually I'm kind of a little bit surprised that hasn't been an expansion name because they go to all these different worlds and stuff.
I was watching a thing on DE, and evidently one of their favorite things is when they try and cosplay, like when players try and cosplay their Warframes as things like One Punch Man or Kill a Kill or whatever. So I'm sure someone has done a Nathan Drake Warframe with the cosmetics.
Speaking of which, I put this in the Discord and then didn't hear from anyone. There's got to be a 10 o'clock podcast, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm going to start something up when we get done here.
Yeah, you head up the Warframe podcast. That'll...
And then I won't fucking invite you on ever. It'll be hilarious.
Oh, that'd be great. You just start loving the game and never talk to me again. Just
be
like...
it'll be me and fucking Randy.
That motherfucker, he just fucking talked 40 minutes for me about that one podcast. God damn it. This is what he gets. This is Clan Not Musum. That's what we're calling it. Anyway.
So if we're done, I've got another clan to speak of.
Yeah, keep moving.
That is the Cog clan, which is, I don't know, I guess a very loose use of the term. I've been playing Gears of War because I'm a fucking masochist, I guess. So I found. I was delivered a deal on 6 months of Microsoft's Game Pass for $30, and I thought, well, this is not a service that I would want to pay for. Even if it was $5 a month, like, because that's it's what it's prorated to. Even if I was paying that, I wouldn't want to pay that month by month. Like, this is a service where I go, I want to give you a chunk of money and then experience this thing for a while and then decide later if I want to keep subscribing. So consequently, I've blown through my entire data cap for the month because I downloaded 2 of the Gears games, I downloaded DMC, I downloaded Devil May Cry 4 Remastered, I downloaded Elder Scrolls Online, which is on there, which is 92 gigs. So between that and pulling a bunch of stuff down on Steam, I blew through my 1 terabyte data cap on like the 16th. But anyway, I finished up Gears of War 3 because I'm a completionist. And when it's sitting there in my library and I'm going, well, I never finished it, I really should finish it. And man, I don't know if it's like what's the reverse of rose-colored glasses? Like a rose-colored anus filter or something?
Shit-stained glasses? I don't know.
Maybe it. I mean, everything's very smudgy in that game, so I suppose it's possible. I don't know if it was just when that game came out that I hated, but man, I don't think I like anything about those games. Because isn't the whole idea that they would upscale it once it was backwards compatible on Xbox One? Isn't that the idea?
I thought so.
Because if this thing's at 1080, it is the shittiest 1080 I've ever seen. Like, everything's super muddy, even in cinematics, which I think the cinematics are in engine, so that's fine, but like even the backgrounds look terrible.
I mean, I don't know. I never liked those games. I never liked the way they looked. The only thing I ever liked about them was it was a game Susie and I could play couch co-op on.
Well, I'm sure it's still awesome for that, but and again, I don't know if it hasn't aged well or if I just hate that series. But like the roadie truck thing, where you hold down A and sort of sprint and lumber, it was making me literally sick to my stomach. The camera bounced so much.
I didn't experience that. Like, I played Gears of War 3 as recent as, I think, 2 years ago.
Maybe it's this big giant TV that I'm sitting a foot away from. That's probably not helping. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you played that, effectively it's like playing it in IMAX. So, yeah, maybe that factored in. Shooters do not control good with controllers. And that game doesn't have a whole lot of auto-aim to help you out in that regard.
I mean, that game's kind of a slug, though. I mean, does it matter that much?
If by slug do you mean slog?
Slow is what I mean.
Yes. Well, and to compound that, you need to be super precise, and also these things take an entire clip to go down. It's like, ugh. Yeah, it's aside from like the literal last level. Now, and mind you, I picked this game back up like almost at the exact halfway point. So if there was stuff in the first half, I mean, I remember the first level you're on like an aircraft carrier or a boat type barge sort of thing. So that was kind of bright, but aside from that, it's your old Gears of War. Everything is brown and gray and muddy and hard to see, and you can't really tell where targets are unless they're shooting at you, and the characters are all unlikable. There's barely any plot to be found. Dom dies because he crashed his car. There's so much fucking dumb stuff in this game. The thing that made me laugh, I guess, was that at the end, Marcus's dad literally just disintegrates in front of him, and he catches his cog necklace. That's the only thing that's left, and he happened to catch it. Like he was going to choke his dad as he fell or something. I don't know what was going to happen there. So I beat that, and I was utterly miserable about it. But I thought I'd throw in Gears 4 because I had that too.
Jesus.
Wow, look, I already paid for them. I might as well use them,
So here, so my favorite thing about Gears of War is that sound it makes when you pick up someone's dog tags. Like, that almost melody, like haunting thing, like so... Yeah.
That thing?
Yeah. It sounds nothing like that, but yeah.
That's a sound for something else then. It's like faint and echoey.
Like the one I'm thinking of is kind of a synth pad that's kind of like it's almost Silent Hillish sounding. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, does it make the same sound when you pick up dog tags in 4?
I don't know that I've found any yet. I found a lot of
Okay.
like newspaper articles and magazines and shit. There's some weird. I'm only like a chapter or 2 in, and I'm fighting robots, which is not great. I'm sure that's going to go away, except all the locusts are dead. So I'm sure they're going to show back up because they're in the little screenshots, the wallpapers that unlock when you get achievements. So I'm sure they're in there somewhere. All the sounds are exactly the same. Yeah,
That's
there's
good.
no shit. I'm forgetting his name. Joe Dimaggio is not in this yet. I'm sure Marcus will show up. It just, I know at some point they sort of leaned into the joke, but it was just funny, hearing nice and hearing that voice be like, Dad. It's like, like he's the angstiest teen Groot that there is. It just it makes me laugh hearing him say anything but nice or Anya. It just it's funny. But anyway, I'm working my way through Gears 4. I'm a couple things in. It looks a lot nicer. The physics seem a little bit better. I haven't puked because of the bouncing yet. And I'm shooting lots of stuff. So it's a lot more colorful. I'm liking it better. I'm still going to definitely take my time finishing it. Speaking of shooting stuff, we're going to be sort of calling it a show before season 2 of Westworld finishes up. But I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. John, have you been watching this season at all?
Yeah, I'm all caught up.
You're all caught up. What do you think of it so far? Minus any spoilers, obviously.
So I've been like the first episode or 2 we watched one at a time, and I was like, man, I'm not feeling this season. And then we caught a couple episodes in a row, and I'm like, man, I really liked those episodes. And I've noticed, like, if I just watch a single episode, I don't remember what happened the rest of the season. But if I watch it all at once, then I pick up on more things. So like this last episode, it didn't do a whole lot for me. I feel like they're just selling us some bullshit, like with that end scene that I won't mention what it is. But like the episode before that, about a certain character who'd kind of appeared in the background, like I thought that episode was fucking amazing.
Is this about the fellow what doesn't speak the English?
Yeah,
Okay.
but like for the most part, I don't know. I don't even know how many timelines is in this season, man. I am.
Yeah, I guess they could pull that again and like throw in a 3rd, 4th, and 5th timeline.
I feel like we're already tracking 3 or 4 timelines in this, and there might be more. I don't fucking know, but I don't. We can't get into my theories on that without spoilers, and I guess we'll find out next week.
And that's fine. Oh, it's going to be a 90-minute show next week, by the way. See, I haven't even considered that. No, Dimebag, he's not Mexican. I guess he might be Mexican. I guess that territory. He's Native American, dude. I guess that territory was probably Mexico at that point. I don't know. We're trying not to be spoilery, man. You asked us not to. Anyway, I do not. I have not been thinking about this show critically enough. Even now that I know that they did the multiple timeline thing in the first season, even though I know that now, I'm still not thinking of it as like, oh, they might be fucking with us. I'm still taking everything at face value like a fucking idiot. I don't know if part of that's because I'm sort of doing the watch it in the second monitor thing, which I recognize is a mistake. I know that is absolutely not the show to do that with. But I feel like there's so much downtime in that show. It's the same reason I turned off Blade Runner. Because, like, it's beautiful, and the soundtrack's great, and the sets are great, and the acting's awesome, and there's beautiful imagery, but nothing fucking happens. And I feel like I will hate the show if I actually sit and watch it.
I feel like a lot has happened, but I don't understand what's happened yet because they haven't given me whatever key I need to view the rest of the episodes in to understand what's actually happening.
But, and it seems like nobody has... nobody seems to have any goals or ambitions or sort of impetus to do anything. I feel like everyone's been just kind of wandering around for 8 episodes. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you have reasons why I'm wrong that you can't say.
I mean, half of them absolutely. Like, I don't. Definitely the character that they did the stinger about in last episode. I definitely think that character has just been meandering this entire season.
The fella or lady that had the flashbacks in the most recent episode, you mean? Well, I guess that's every person in every single episode.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, but one minor music spoiler. This is a music spoiler, so it's not a real spoiler. It'll take 2 seconds, so just shout really loud and you'll go past it. That heart-shaped box piano cover was fucking amazing. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was their... Have you been watching HBO, like, for the last couple of months before that came out? Because that was their music for every single trailer.
Oh, no, I didn't watch any of the trailers. I wanted to go in as blind as I could. Like, the first season blew me away so much. Like, I knew there's no way the second season was going to be able to hold up to it. And, like, watching this season, I'm like, how many seasons are they wanting to milk out of this? And why are they making some of the characters that I really liked completely unlikable this season? So I don't...
Yeah, I have no idea what Dolores is doing or why. I don't really know what the whole jaunt to Shogun World did or was for, and, like, they might explain all of this.
Yeah.
But, like, then on the other hand, I'm like, how many seasons of this show are they looking to do? Because we're sort of... It feels like we're running out of stuff pretty quick.
I mean, Jonathan Nolan's doing it, so he probably has an ending in mind. So maybe we're just in the meandering second chapter. I don't... Like, I'm sure the next episode will come out, and it'll be good, and it'll make a lot of the episodes retroactively better, but I don't think it will ever hold a candle to the first season. But
have you gone back and watched the first season?
I've seen it at least twice.
Yeah, I seem to remember, I think I brought it up on the cast the first time I got my free month of HBO, and I really kind of didn't like the show. And now that I've gone back and watched it a second time, I like it a lot more, and not even just because I know the twist at the end. I think it's a lot more because my expectations are managed and that I'm not expecting some huge plot event. I mean, there's big stuff that happens, but, like, a huge world-changing thing does not happen in that first season really to any large extent. They hint at stuff. I feel like it's just that show's a lot more enjoyable when you know what you should be looking for instead of being on the edge of your seat, and I'm hoping the second season does the same thing for me.
Yeah, I like this show because of honestly, kind of because of Ex Machina, like you could say, like it's that style. Where like I thought, I diverged from you in that I thought the first season was good even when I didn't know what was going on. But the thing about Ex Machina is it's written in such a way that
my ex Monica
had
this problem.
Oh Jesus Christ! But you watch the movie thinking with one protagonist, and then at the end of the movie, it gives you the key to understanding another protagonist's viewpoint. And then you can go through and just concentrate on what their motives are and what they're thinking. And like then you can go through and concentrate on the other character. And I feel like the first season of Westworld does that expertly as well. The second season, I don't know if it's doing it expertly, but I suspect it's going to be the same formula where at the end they're going to give us a few keys and we're going to be able to view the rest of the season differently. But like I also, like the first time I saw Westworld season 1, I watched it all at once, and I think they are very much writing these shows to be one movie and not something that that you remember week to week.
I mean, they have their cliffhanger episodes, but yeah, I guess when you're on HBO and you know that people watch your show every week, but I think you would have to recognize that on some level this is inherently kind of has always been to some extent a bingeable show. I mean, it was kind of the same thing even going back to The Sopranos. By the second season of that, it was pretty widely known that most people, and I'm saying this from experience because I worked in a Blockbuster at that time, so it was, obviously just anecdotal, but it seems like everybody watched that on DVD. I would work 3 shifts in 3 days in a row, and I would see the same person come in and get disc 1 that was 4 episodes, and the next day was disc 2 and then disc 3. People were binging these shows even back to early 2000s. So I think they probably on some level are structuring it that way, or rather you can't really fault a director for sort of taking the long view and doing that. So that makes sense.
So if you're ready to move topics,
Yeah.
I want to say, speaking of shows that should be binged and not released in 6-episode increments, the latest whatever season of Voltron just hit, and it's really good, and it's very slow to the extent that I'm like, all of this would be way more meaningful if I had watched all the Zartan story at once. Like, but it's like highlights for this season include. I guess I'll run with that. The big highlight for me was their joke episode. They usually have at least one early in their series. It seems like they do it a lot more. They've gotten way less jokey as they've gone, and way more into galactic kind of politics and war maneuvering, like where I don't think a little kid's interest would be held at all.
So they're doing the prequels, is what you're telling me. We need more trade routes, damn it.
More Star Trek than Star Wars, but so like in the middle of the season, they have a moment where all the characters sit down and play this alien version of D&D, basically, that is just endlessly entertaining.
Yeah, I actually, this is the only thing I know about this season because I was reading about how much people loved that episode.
It's a really good episode. Like, granted, I don't think you should just go watch only that episode in the series. I think you aren't going to enjoy it unless you've really spent time with those characters. But seeing them kind of operate in a D&D world and having like the guy who's piloting the Black Lion at the time, what's his name? Shiro. He like they're called Voltron Paladins, like the pilots. And he rolls up a paladin, and everyone groans, and they're like, "You're that in real life. Why are you rolling this up?" And he keeps like dying in the game and keeps rolling up another paladin.
He keeps re-rolling not only the class he is in real life, he keeps dying and re-rolling the same class. Yeah. That's a good joke. I like that joke.
It's pretty good. It's that might be the best. I probably shouldn't have spoiled that joke, but it's my favorite one. But like that whole episode's a lot of fun, and it's at a point when you really needed it. And the season ends at a place that I was surprised that they kind of upped the stakes in that manner.
Yeah, there's from what I understand, I guess I know 2 things. There is a character that they were maybe like was kind of a bad guy, might be a good guy, sort of a bad guy, that they sort of, one of those things they sort of buried the needle on towards the end of this, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, they wrapped up that story. That wasn't necessarily, like, they definitely went some places with that, but I also think they ultimately kind of copped out on it.
Okay.
So, like, I'm more just talking about, I did not expect them to, well, I'm just not going to say. But we'll see what they do afterwards with that. I'm assuming there's going to be another season.
Yeah, are these discrete seasons still, or are these just, we finished a handful of episodes, let's get them out the door?
I think they've finished every 6 episodes. They're just releasing them as they finish them. Okay. I think I had heard from our Discord, I want to say it was Gibbinator who wrote it in, that they released like season 1 and 2 of Voltron on Blu-ray, and it was like way more episodes in the one season than the Netflix season show.
The old school.
No, the new one, like the new Netflix series they released on Blu-ray. And I'm saying like their 6-episode seasons is bullshit because like season 1 is like I don't know, 20 episodes or something.
I'm sorry. So you're saying that basically they released season 1 on Blu-ray, except it was what Netflix calls seasons 1 through 3?
Something
is that
like
what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what.
It's not like they made new episodes and stuck them into the Blu-rays.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So seasons 1 and 2, for instance, is 26 episodes. Like these have been 6-episode seasons according to Netflix so far. So.
Yeah, but if you paid $40 to $50 for 6 episodes of Voltron, you'd be pretty pissed.
Okay, this is a DVD copy, but it's only $18 on DVD. So.
Would you pay $3 an episode? On iTunes? On Amazon?
No.
No, you wouldn't.
No, hell no.
I wouldn't.
Man, why did they release it on DVD, and why did that come up when I hit Blu-ray? Oh, anyway, it's a good show. I think it's more made to be binged, and it also makes me wonder if, like, next time they release the next 6 episodes, maybe I just wait, like, the full 6 to 8 months and try and get 12 episodes at once.
That sounds like something you're capable of. I could see that happening.
I hope I'm capable of it. I really like that show.
Well, what are you going to do with the 3 days you took off for when it comes out? So you can watch them 40 times in a row. Now you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
You have to buy a treadmill or something.
I don't.
I have no segue except for, I guess, space. I went to a buddy's house. I still have not signed back up for Netflix. And now that I've seen this, I kind of don't have a reason to for the moment still, which is kind of liberating. I'll probably stick with HBO for the time being because I'm rewatching Game of Thrones, but I canceled Hulu, so that's going to be gone probably this week. Netflix is gone. I'm just riding Prime and HBO, and it's sort of liberating because you don't feel like you have to watch all these things. Maybe I'll jump back in when Preacher finishes up season 3, but anyway, till then, I went to a buddy's house and watched Last Jedi on his huge projector in the basement. Projectors got really good. And the surround sound, and it was super loud and awesome, great. I don't know how I feel about it. You still haven't seen it, right, John?
Nope, waiting for it to hit Netflix.
Okay, I think that's this week or next week.
Yeah, it's soon. It's, I think, before the end of the month. I was kind of checking just now, because I was like, man, I wonder if that released. Maybe I'll watch that tonight, because Susie has to work overnight tonight, but nope.
There were moments, like I found, I'm watching this in a group of people, and all these people have already seen it, so I can just, they don't care. I can be that asshole who talks in the movie and has the out loud reactions and, asks questions and makes fun of the porgs and just whatever. Moment to moment, yes, I understand it's a 45-hour movie, but there were probably like 13 or 14 spots where I was like, where I had an out loud reaction, where I was like, or happy, or laughed, or just like, daw, because they make the porgs work. I wanted to hate the porgs. They're not overdone. They make them work. Like you remember from the trailer where Chewbacca's flying. I'm gonna guess the Millennium Falcon. I'm gonna guess it's probably that. And the porgs in the window just going, "No, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yep. I saw that's my porg voice. I saw like a plushie of the porg from that scene in someone's rear windshield in their car the other day, and I wanted to be mad at it, and I still couldn't. I was like, "Oh, that's just fucking good," because he's in the car. And like there were moments that I thought were great, or I went, "Holy shit, that's clever," or there's a thing that there's a couple of sacrifices, but one of the sacrifices that involves a ship, I was like, that's really fucking clever, and I can't believe they haven't done it before. And there's some chaff, there's some stuff that doesn't need to be in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff with Benicio del Toro that I'm not sure what he was doing in the movie, because they wedged him in. Get it? Wedged. But he didn't really need to be there, so I don't know. It was great to see Mark Hamill again. I don't know that they needed to be here, aside from the fact that it's like we need to establish this new, they're realizing we can't ride Han and Leia and Luke forever, because the story needs to grow, and we're Disney, we need to make money on this for the next 25 fucking years, so we gotta start the Jedi kids. And a large part of that was here's how we're going to establish the future of this franchise with these Jedi kids. And I don't know. There's some weird stuff with Kylo Ren that his motivations are real weird. And I still don't know what I think of it, even though there was a ton of good scenes. Like I saw it last weekend before. So I saw this thing less than 2 weeks ago, and I had to go look up a plot synopsis to remember what had happened. So like I don't know. I think I'm gonna be. I say this, but then of course I change my mind every 2 weeks. I think I'm gonna be glad when this trilogy is done. Partly so I can see where they intend to go with it, but then you ask me any other week, I'm going to be like, well, I'm sort of getting off the fucking Star Wars boat anyway, so I don't know.
I feel like I got off the Star Wars boat after I realized they were going to stop releasing flight simulators. Which is a really long time ago. Like it's like every year since has just been me coming to terms with, I really don't like this franchise as much as everyone else around me.
Well, did they? And chat, let me know here, because it seems like you folks are more into these new Star Wars than I am. I feel like they've never explained how this new evil Empire First Order gang came to be, or what they're trying to do. It's just and again, it's been maybe a year and a half, 2 years since I saw it, but I seem to remember that it was just like they hand waved it, and it's like no, the bad guys came back. They're different bad guys. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think they really explained much. I also don't think there's much to explain for most of it, except for the Knights of Ren. But like, I know the Rebels and Clone Wars cartoons are supposed to be canon, and I know they brought characters from both of those shows into the movies now at this point.
Yeah, but that was way before. Like we've already seen what happens after the Clone Wars. So, like, there's no... I mean, I guess if you're saying that they're leaving space to fill that in, I guess that's possible? I don't know.
Well, no, I just mean, like for instance, the in Rogue One, what was that character's name they went to on the planet that was, like, half robot that raised what's-her-name? Or the actor who plays him? The guy who talked real weird that was also in Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
God, his name's not coming. That's a character.
That
is evidently a character from the Rebel cartoon. But like, and I think he might actually voice that character in that cartoon as well. But like, that's evidently not the only character that's shown up from that cartoon in the movie. So, and I think one of some of the Last Jedi had something to do with that cartoon. So, they may be making these movies entirely for fans of that cartoon.
And look, from what I understand, that was a really, really great show. I couldn't get past the design and the animation, but I haven't liked that since it looked futuristic in Reboot. So what do you want from me?
Yeah, I never gave it a shot, and the more I find, like, because I have, like, Joey and Lauren, like, are hardcore fucking Star Wars fans, and the more I watch something they watch, and then I'm disappointed with it and they aren't, like, I feel bad. Like, I'm hurting their excitement and high, because excitement becomes... Forrest Whitaker, thank you, Phil, from chat.
God, I was scrolling through this IMDb page frantically. I'm on my fourth pass, and I still didn't see his name. I was starting to question whether he was actually in the movie.
I think he played Ghost Dog, didn't he?
Yes.
I don't think I ever saw that movie, but I always meant to.
No, nobody did. He's not on the fucking IMDb, or at least he's in that thing that you have to expand.
Yeah,
well, that's good. That's good that we had chat to help us out, because I was never going to find that.
But anyway, my only point is, like, I've started feeling bad for not being as excited about everything as they are. And like I kind of felt that way. Like I really liked Knights of the Old Republic, and Knights of the Old Republic 2 came out. It's written by one of my favorite game writers. A lot of my friends love that game. A lot of people love that game. I played it for like an hour or two. I'm like, I'm good.
That's perpetually in my installed favorites list on Steam, and I'll fire it up probably twice a year on like a Saturday. I'll forget everything that's happened. I'll forget everything about how to control it, what I was doing with any of these characters, whatever. But I want to play the game, and I'll get 90 minutes into it and be like, I can't do this. Because I mean, for me, I'll admit, a lot of it is the visuals that they haven't aged well, and that's on me. I can't get past that. I'm superficial, whatever. Even with the make it pretty pack, I can't do it. But the writing, again, it was super for the time. It was crazy. It was a huge jump. Like, to have these branching conversations and shit's gonna matter, and blind lady will remember that up in the top left, and all that stuff was great. And I feel like I've seen it so much now that going back to the original, it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course they did that. That's what you do.
I mean, even at the time it came out, I remember, because it came out, like, Fable either wasn't too long after it or was right around the same time, and they were doing the you do evil stuff and you start to look more evil thing, and, like, everyone liked it, and I'm like, man, that Fable game that I never wanted to play that looked terrible also did that. So my mind always pulled that up whenever I went to play it, too. But, like, I like Star Wars. I just think people misunderstand what makes... Okay, no, I can't say that. I
was going to say, it's mostly likely that you and I don't understand what makes them good.
Well, like, here's what I want out of Star Wars fiction. I want force powers to be incredibly rare. Like, the Han Solo movie, like, I've been spoiled on a lot of parts to it. But, like, one of the most appealing things to me about it is that for, like, there's pretty much only one Force user in it, and my understanding is they're just a hologram, talking.
Rogue One, there weren't any, were there?
There was Darth Vader, and that I appreciated that, but what I really wanted in Rogue One, and this is my fault for wanting this, is I wanted a moment where the main cast had to escape Darth Vader. Like, I didn't want them to actually have to fight Darth Vader or win. And I kind of, you got that at the end. It just was...
I mean, they escaped him by shuffling off this mortal coil.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I think... you're reminding me about this now. I think that might be my favorite part of that movie. And I've never been one of these people who's like, oh, fucking Darth Vader's so awesome. I've never been that guy. But they made him fucking terrifying in that movie. And he's on screen for what, like maybe 3 minutes?
Yeah. Well, and I think, like, it would be a really more powerful narrative, like, even still, just to have... I mean, like, it'd be like why Batman is interesting on like, the Justice League or around all these superpowered people. Like, okay, arguably, Batman doesn't sleep and is a master businessman, is all these unlikely things. But, like, it's the, okay, let's put a normal human having to contend with superhumans around him, right? So, like, what does a human being with a gun do when someone shows up who just waves his hand and knocks your beam back out at you, like, just knocks your bullets back at you.
In Justice League Unlimited, wasn't there just a cowboy, like a literal guy with 2 guns who just ran around with him?
Oh, I forgot that character's name, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Nathan Fillion voiced him. I feel like him and Batman probably shouldn't have gotten along very well.
Yeah, there's a few cowboys in the DC universe. I'm guessing it wasn't Jonah Hex.
It was not, but that was a good episode. Man. I'm sorry, we're getting way off the track. I guess we got a little time. Did you ever see those DC spin-off, sort of one-off things that were on Netflix for a little bit? There was one of Jonah Hex. There was one of Spectre, I want to say. They were really weird. The intro was them, like, the camera was moving through a comic store.
That was a really good one. Like, I remember the Spectre one. I remember liking that one a bunch. I know I've seen a few things with Jonah Hex. I don't really remember them well.
That's what introduced me to him. Which, boy, that's a bummer that's what introduced me to him, because then I thought he was really cool, and then that movie came out. Even Josh Brolin's embarrassed about that movie now. But anyway, Last Jedi. Watch it when it comes out on Netflix. It's nice to be able to pause it and go to the bathroom, because holy Christ, there's a lot of that movie. So speaking of streaming stuff, a service that you just found out Steam offers, the Steam sale is live as of today. As of you hearing this, it will be maybe up for 3 days. Maybe it'll already be over. Who knows? It's going till July 5th. Sort of, aside from the obvious, holy shit, Steam links are $2.50, which I wanted to make sure I brought up. So I feel like there's a bigger problem with Steam sales, and maybe we talked about this last time, and I'm just repeating us. Um, I'm looking at this list, and there's a bunch of great games on this list. GTA 5 is under $20 for I think the first time ever. Prey is 15. Doom is 15. Dark Souls 3 with all the DLC is 25. Special edition of Skyrim is 20. I mean, that's you're going to get 200 hours a game out of that. Witcher's 3 is 20. There's a ton of stuff on here that's pretty good. A Final Fantasy 12, that remake, is $25. Like there's a ton of good stuff on here. I think Neo is going to be 25 or 30. There's a ton of good stuff on here, but I already own it. And now that they've gotten rid of the flash sales, I feel like the Steam sale isn't really a big thing anymore, aside from the theme that they do with it.
Yeah, and I have been pretty unimpressed with the Steam sales the last few years, but I've also, Steam sales to get me, they really need to be under $10. And this year I think I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff, but I think I'm doing it because I'm depressed about the world. Not because...
Well, you should get Fallout 4.
I already have Fallout 4, thank you. Oh, you're saying to practice, I'm sorry.
Crypto the Necrodancer, I want to say the Ultimate Edition, is $3. $3. You need to buy that game if you have not played that game. $3 is worth it, even if you just leave it running on your computer to listen to the soundtrack. Because fucking Danny Baranowski, man. Oh, he's great. So this year, this summer, they are doing... Oh, Hellblade is $18. That seems like that's a good price for that. Their theme is... what are they calling it? Saliens? Like aliens, but they have sails. And not like boats. Like they offer stuff at great prices. And there's sort of this weird conquest. I've only messed with it for about 5 or 10 minutes, but there's this weird everyone's conquest, the reigning conquest over planets and stuff. And so you have this Salian avatar that you can customize, and you click on a planet, and then you click on a piece of the map, and you do like a weird kind of tower defense-ish type thing, except you just click as the monsters come in, and you have special abilities, and you can level up and stuff. And it seems like it's going to be pretty neat. So I'm not sure quite yet whether it's how much time you put into it or how much of a thing that you've conquered, because you can, of course, get into groups with other people, and it seems like there was one group on the one planet I went to. Not seems like, there literally was one group that had taken over every spot that had been taken. So it's probably going to devolve into, there are two groups that there are 100 million people subscribed to when you pick your side. But anyway, however they split it up, you have a chance to win a handful of games that are attached to either that sector or that planet. Which seems like a cool thing. I mean, from what I can tell, they're not talking like, shit that came out this week or anything, but it's not super old stuff either. I don't want to go into one of them because it might wreck my bandwidth and ruin the call, but it seems pretty neat. Look, if they're giving away games, I can get behind that. And they made a game. It's a stupid clicky tower defense, but hey, Valve's making games again, so that's something, right?
Well, I mean, they had to have those. They had to have the Firewatch guys do something, right? They can't let them work on their game and have that thing get out.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot they bought them. What is Valve doing? Who are they?
I really hope. Why can't I remember that company's name? But the Campo Santo. I really hope they actually do get to keep making games and just aren't thrown into the Valve limbo that we've all come to know and expect. I
mean, I'm sure those guys would be just as happy to spend 40 hours a week just shooting the shit on the philosophy of art design or something like that. I'm sure they'll be okay.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. Like the games I'm buying on this Steam sale are like, I'm looking them over, and like Pyre is like $7.99. That's a game I've wanted to play for a long time. I really like that company that makes some Supergiant games. They did Bastion and Transistor. Sundered.
I really wish I had liked Transistor a lot more than I did.
I like Transistor a lot. I kind of feel that way about most of their games. Like I love the art style. I love the world. I love the writing, and the music is enough to make me also love. Like, you could make all of that stuff shit, and I would still love the game because Darren Korb is just a fucking master.
He's great.
Um,
I listen to that Bastion soundtrack all the time. Great driving music.
yeah, and I listen to both those soundtracks, but like at the end of the day, like the gameplay in those, like I like them, but I feel like it's just not up to the rest of what they're bringing. And I wish it was. I wish it had that kind of addicting thing. Like, I mean, Transistor, I think if you're someone who likes to tweak gameplay systems, I think Transistor would be an endless hole to fall into because of their hacking system. But
yeah, and that was my thing. I don't know that I'll never go back to it, but I realized how deep they were going to go with the systems on it. And I hit the fucking ejector seat. I was like, no, this is too much for me. I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you go to a bar and you pick up a woman, you go back to her place, and then the first thing you see when you walk in the door is like the swing. And it's like, you know what? All right, I realize I'm in over my head. You have a nice night. I'm gonna go home.
You know, you just gotta be open-minded, Jake. I mean, swing is I mean, that's a little vanilla, but that's okay.
It had a battering ram on the front of it, for Christ's sake.
Okay, that's a little less vanilla.
Uh-huh. It was covered in blood, John.
Okay. Okay, you've made your point.
So speaking of blood, I feel like we're kind of done with Steam here. You know what we didn't put in our little E3 notes is Devolver. They did another great, I don't know, show? Do we call it a show? What do we even call it? They do?
It's performance art. It is. If you've never watched a Devolver Digital E3, go look up last year's and then watch this year's. It'll take you maybe an hour total, and it will be as good as watching a TV show, I think. With VFX that is constantly mocking the video game industry at all of their presentation.
And it's wonderful because they are the last show. Like, all the presentations happen. You know, we had EA on Saturday, I guess if you could call it that. And then I think it was Microsoft, Sony, Sony was Monday. Microsoft was Sunday. It doesn't matter. Devolver was the last of the things. Like, they went after the last person. So you've been pounded in the head with all this dumb corporate speak and bullshit and just like, our customers and value and da-da-da, and just all the gaming, like, lingo, the business lingo, and they just turn on its head and just rip it to shit. But still, while they're trying to sell you games, so it's weird and meta and super funny.
I really wish I wanted to play any of their games.
Yes!
I like them so much. Like, just the ridiculous nature. The, what did she say? Stink bug? No. Oh, god damn it.
When she told the guy to get off the stage, she gave him what for? It was a real good line.
Stink bug fuck minions or something like that. Like, it was, god, it was good. It was so good. Like, that lady, I wish,
And her delivery is so great.
Yeah.
They do her up like that, like God, I'm trying to, so I guess like Juliana Margulies on Scrubs, like the super powerful, doesn't take any shit woman who's, basically torn everyone's throat out with her teeth to make it up the corporate ladder and will just fuck you without batting an eye and doesn't care if you know it. Like, that's the persona they made for Devolver's presenter. And it just fucking, she goes into it 110% and just kills it. It's great. Anyway.
Yeah, like
that's about all for them.
If that woman works at Devolver, they are lucky to have like someone who can act and perform as well as her. So.
Well, I mean, clearly they have, that company hires people with a great sense of humor.
Yeah. And
like, it's a lot easier for comedic actors to go drama than drama to go comedy. So like, I don't know that that's relevant here, but yeah, it's crazy. But, the people who have the kind of personality to come up with that thing are the same type of people, I guess, creatives you'd expect to have an actor in the mix. So, but anyway, we unfortunately don't want to talk about any of their games. But, John, you got a list of stuff that you were interested in. Why don't we go over some of that?
Okay. I guess we'll start with Microsoft. So this is like I kind of kept a tab on games. Like everyone comes out of the conferences saying, "Oh, they did really good" or "They did really bad," and like I get on presentation, like you can make judgments that way. But I like kind of quantifying things. So like I was trying to figure out, well, how much did Microsoft show me that I'm actually going to buy, and how much of that is exclusive to the Xbox, and am I really going to buy somewhere else? So like,
instead of saying, like, because walking out of it, I would have said, Microsoft really killed it this year. But what you've done is basically assigned a point system to
Yes.
each of them.
Yes.
And so, like, yeah, they put out a bunch of shit, but they scored a 3 on my list. So
Yeah.
this is your own personal sort of point
Right.
system.
Right. And honestly, for the most part, they actually tied with Sony once I finally remembered all the games they showed.
You can't just throw that out there, dude. You got to work up to it.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, they. I don't know that Microsoft's gonna catch up with Sony. No. So like everyone's talked Cyberpunk 2077 to death. So we're just gonna shelve that.
That car looks pretty cool.
It looks fucking amazing. I'm incredibly excited for that. But I feel like if you listen to any other podcasts or any other media, then we're not going to add anything else to that conversation.
We can come back and do that in 2021 or when it comes out.
Yeah.
So why don't you come out in 2076?
So other stuff they showed, just a minor note, Tales of Vesperia is probably among like the TVGP crowd the best Tales game ever made. And it was only released for Xbox here. It was only released for PS3 in Japan. Real weird situation. So the fact that it's coming out everywhere here is a good sign. So I look forward to playing it. There's a dog that I believe smokes a cigar and has an eye patch in that game. Yeah. So maybe that'll sell you on it. Maybe it won't. It's an action RPG, sort of.
But does it have a monkey who swears, though?
Probably not.
Mm.
I think we got to get to Ubi to do that. So, but that's coming out for all platforms. Sekiro is the From Software game that I imagine you're excited about since you love From Software so much.
I thought I was. I was super into it while I was watching the trailer at the conference, and I was like, "Oh, Dark Souls with the fucking hook shot, and all this looks really cool." I'm kind of not into the samurai thing. So let's be clear. I am going to buy it and play it, and probably play way too much of it. But I will do it begrudgingly. Damn it.
Yeah,
because Neo. You look at Neo, and Neo is fucking incredible, and that's super Dark Souls-y and beautiful. And God, now I have an HDR TV. I need to play that again. And I really like it moment to moment. I love everything about that game, and I can't get into it. So I don't know. We'll see. I have the same problem with the other samurai game that's going to come up.
Well, and I suspect like this game will deviate from the Souls formula pretty significantly. I don't know why. I just have a illogical hunch from what they showed us in the trailer. And maybe you saw some Souls thingies in it in the trailer. I feel like I didn't see anything that would equate to that. And I think people who are going to go into it expecting kind of a Souls leveling system or something like that are going to be super disappointed.
I don't know that I agree with that, but I don't have anything to disprove it. I will say that you probably would see the similarity a lot more if you thought of it as Bloodborne-ish instead of Dark Souls-ish. Because of the movement and the hopping and the...
Well, I may be 100% wrong. I have obviously spent way less time than any Dark Souls or Bloodborne fan.
Did you play Bloodborne?
Yeah, I put a few hours into it.
Okay.
I didn't get very far. I like all those games. I just, time.
Bloodborne was very tough to get the hang of.
Yeah, I liked it. I got to I think I got to the second boss, and got most of the way through him, and then he kicked my ass, and then I thought of the stuff I'd have to do to get enough of something. I needed to recharge something after fighting.
Your blood gems.
Yeah, and
he's a priest. Except then you figure out how to kick his ass, and he remembers that he's a werewolf, and then he eats you. And that's what happens to everyone.
Oh. Well, and I really didn't want to go grinding for the blood gems or whatever that I needed to heal myself or whatever, and so then I just never played it again. I will probably give it another try someday. So let's see. Moving on. They showed Gears Tactics, which looked like Gears of War XCOM, which
Nice.
like honestly, like the more I think about it, like I want to play this game, but I don't want to pay for it. So what I may wind up doing is just getting like Xbox
Game Pass.
Yeah, get Game Pass for that month. $10, get Game Pass. Grab a few of the Microsoft exclusives I've been curious about, see if I like them or not, and then call it.
What's weird is that, and of course I'm only a couple weeks into it, so I haven't really noticed yet. What's weird is that, they just got all these new games. Fallout 4 is on there now, that they announced at Bethesda's thing. Elder Scrolls Online is on there now. So they got this new stuff, but what I feel like they're not pushing, and for good reason, is that I'm pretty sure stuff falls off of this, like Netflix. They lose a bunch of stuff every month. I think that's the same thing that's going to happen here, and they're just going to keep a rolling total of approximately 100 titles. So that's going to be weird when that happens.
That's probably true, but realistically, I'm only going to get the Game Pass to play Microsoft exclusives, so...
Which may or may not fall off? I don't know. It's weird. It's uncharted territory.
I am skeptical. I bet it'll stay on. But, so then the other thing they did is they brought out Chris Avellone, who worked. He's a video game writer. He is one of the ones responsible for the first Planescape Torment game. He was also involved in the. Wait, I just got it wrong. Planescape Torment's the sequel. Whatever the first one's called.
Farscape.
No.
RuneScape.
It's because the first one is Torment: Tides of Numenera, or the second one's Torment: Tides of Numenera, and the first one is it's Planescape Torment. I got it fucking right. Okay, so he did that. He was involved in the Fallout franchise a lot. He worked at Interplay back in the day, so he was probably involved in some of the Baldur's Gates and all those D&D games that came out back when. And I know he did Alpha Protocol and.
By the way, Alpha Protocol on sale for I want to say $1.50 on Steam.
Man, that's a fun game to.
It's got a lot of flaws.
Yeah,
a lot of flaws. But worth $1.50. They do some cool stuff.
Gameplay's not great, but it's fun. Just like of how much of an asshole the main character is, and just the massive story branch paths in it. But.
Yeah, speaking of dialogue trees, I couldn't get past the fact that my super trained secret agent, couldn't get a pistol shot within 10 meters of where I was aiming until you level him up 8 times. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
that game's got some problems.
I think I had to read a primer on how to spec your guy at the beginning before I actually made it through the game, which is honestly is probably something you should do if you ever try to play it.
Anyway, Chris Avellone, I'm sorry.
So anyway, point being, he comes out to introduce the sequel to Dying Light 2, which evidently he's been working with that company on. Dying Light is a game I never played, but it's basically a zombie parkour game. It's Mirror's Edge, but there are zombies that you're running away from. So the sequel, I guess, is going to have factions and story branch paths and Chris is always out to do something really interesting with dialogue trees and dialogue mechanics and writing. So, him being involved in the game may have sold me on this game alone. And this is a franchise I mostly went, that's great they did that. I'm still tired of zombies.
That thing looks like it's going to be 130 gig download. I don't know why I feel that. I'm feeling it.
It might be. So, maybe physical media has an argument for it.
Yeah, you can either download it or get 24 Blu-rays.
No, that's not going to be that large. You're talking about the Doom 2 multiplayer download you have to do. So let's see, and they showed Forza Horizon 4, which looked pretty. It's in England. It's another Forza Horizon game. I look forward to playing it, and but I don't think there's anything significant else to say about it.
This one's got sheep.
Yeah. Honestly, the rumors were saying it was going to be in Japan, which was a little bit of a disappointment for me. I think that would have been a cooler place to put it. But
we have enough Japan this year, all right?
That's true. That's true. So let's move on to a Japanese company, Sony. So Sony showed us more exclusives that I wanted. than Microsoft. You know, now that I think about it, that's really an empty statement. I have no idea the total number of exclusives either company
You
showed.
you didn't even bring up Crackdown 3.
Yeah, oh, right. Crackdown 3.
I feel like Microsoft doesn't realize, or has been promising Crackdown 3 for so long, that they didn't realize that that genre of game sort of like went away 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I don't. I
Like,
think
do people want that anymore?
I think you were the one in the chat who brought up Saints Row, and like, I don't know
Oh,
that
yeah.
this game has a place in the world after Saints Row. Like, people can defend those rocket boots and Crackdown 2 to their death, but like, you know, I played Crackdown 1 way after the fact, and it took me a while to finally see the love in that game. And the main thing I loved about that game was the narrator.
Oh,
And
yeah, I forgot about him.
I mean, what better phrase can you get than skills for kills?
Hmm.
But like,
As gang members are bouncing off the hood of your car that's transforming as you hit them. Man, that game did a lot of stuff right for a game that everyone just bought for a beta
yeah,
to another game. But like, yeah, Saints Row. We don't need to stay on Crackdown. I think that they either don't know what the sunk cost fallacy is, or they're just really out of touch on what sort of where trends are going. But again, you know, I'm the guy who doesn't like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Gears of War, Halo really anymore. So, you know, what the fuck do I know?
I think Microsoft is somewhat desperate for some first-party franchises that people, besides the hardcore fan base, aren't completely burnt out on.
Or at least recognize the name of, because they
Yeah.
had one of those a couple years ago with the big dragon and the guy who put on the headphones to kill the dragon, and then they killed it. So
Yeah, but you know, that Giant Bomb interview with Phil Spencer is pretty good, actually. I feel like they brought that up, or maybe it was a different interview, but that was just a game where they kind of realized that it wasn't going to be what either of the companies wanted it to be, so they just called it. Is basically what Phil said on it. So I really like Phil. Really is the best CEO out there, like in terms of personality and coming across as somewhat relatable, but more like honest, like and upfront. And I hope he keeps doing the Giant Bomb interviews in the future. And like, if you ever want to watch those interviews, the way Giant Bomb does it on YouTube now is after they do their fucking 6-hour interview stream, they chop it up and they say who's on what segment, and so you can just go watch that specific segment.
yeah, I deleted all of those things because like
I'm
it's
talking
kinda like
going to
Game of the
YouTube.
Year.
I'm saying just
I
go
know.
to Giant Bomb YouTube, find this Phil Spencer one, and watch it.
I know. I'm saying after watching all the conferences and then hearing, you know, going back and watching them again with their sort of we talk over it thing, I don't have. I see a 6-hour download for more E3 stuff, and I can't. I'm done. It's kind of like the end of Game of the Year when you're on hour 24, and it's like I'll listen to this shit in January. I don't care.
So, Sony. First one on my list is Ghost of Tsushima. This is the Sucker Punch samurai game.
It looks real fucking pretty.
It looks, yeah, I'm down. Like in the fact that the segment they showed us was evidently a side quest, something that Sucker Punch has been notoriously bad at in the past. But Sucker Punch, you know, did the infamous games.
Thank you for saving me the googling.
Yeah, and they also did. No, that was shit. I forgot what the other game they did. They're like Naughty Dog, where like Naughty Dog did like Jack and Dexter, like near the first. Like they had some game like
Jack
that.
and Dexter,
Yeah.
the lead singer of The Offspring, just bombing around weird alien worlds.
Isn't that what it's called, Jack and Dexter?
Daxter.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Well, anyway, maybe they did Bubsy. It doesn't fucking matter. Who gives a shit? So I really like Infamous 1 and 2. I think Infamous Second Son wasn't all that great. Like I think it was very pretty. I think the DLC Last Light was better than all of Second Son. Well, maybe not. That's too extreme. It's a good game. It's just not what I wanted it to be. So Ghost of Tsushima like looks really cool to me. I'm really curious as to what kind of the moment-to-moment gameplay of that game winds up being like. I saw a lot of people in chat calling it Red Dead Samurai or something like
That's
that.
a good name.
And
They should have
thinking,
went with that.
yeah, and they were thinking like that looked like they had some sort of Deadeye system. And let me tell you, I hate the Deadeye system in Red Dead. Like I don't know who's played that recently. I despise the controls in that game.
What, you
So,
mean you don't want the game to shoot all the bad guys for you?
I don't mind it shooting the bad guys. I mind having to remember how the fuck to trigger the goddamn thing and then make it register where I want the shots at. Like that never made sense to me. Like
That sounds like a you problem.
I maybe so. I
Yeah.
I hated the controls in that game. Like they never made sense to me. They
It's a
never.
Rockstar game. The controls are never good.
Okay. Point taken.
Huh.
Hey, that's all to say. Like if they do that in this game, I will be disappointed. But if they make the controls make sense, then it won't be. And I think of Sucker Punch as being decent at controls. So one of the big surprises Sony showed was Remedy came out on stage and showed us a game called Control. You were some lady with some weird psychic power things and doing some military stuff. Like a lot of the weird effects in it kind of reminded me of the trailers I saw of that other game they did a year or two ago that I don't remember the name of. Quantum Break.
I don't remember anything about this thing.
Oh. Well,
I mean, I'm looking at screenshots and I don't even remember it.
I thought it looked real fucking cool. I bet this is a multi-platform game. I doubt it's exclusive to Sony, but I also think it's significant that they are finally bringing stuff to Sony instead of just doing exclusively Microsoft. So, but this, I will probably get it. I love Alan Wake. I'm probably going to get Quantum Break at some point, like maybe at this Steam sale since it's only $10, and go from there. So, Sony did open the show with Last of Us 2. Amazing amount of people are pretty down on that. I love the first Last of Us game. I love the gameplay and the combat. To me, the violence in The Last of Us, the point of it is you're supposed to be disturbed by it because it's supposed to be a bit more realistic and you aren't supposed to necessarily feel good about it. So for me, the Last of Us 2 trailer like really hit home. It's like, oh cool, you can get under cars now. Like, you know, there were certain gameplay things that I think I picked up on, even if that was obviously not going to be a real sequence from the game.
I seem to remember, as we were watching that sequence, putting in Discord, like, there is no way anyone's playthrough of this ends up anywhere near as professional as this shit looks.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and you were like, no, you try and be stealthy, and then there's a shootout. And it's like, yeah, but you just get shot to death like 40 times.
I don't
And
feel...
then on the 41st time, something comes up and bites your spine in half,
That's
and it's a
not-
one-hit kill.
That's not how that works, Jake. What happens is you get into a shootout, you run out of ammo, and then you start running in a circle around the whole map with a brick. And then you bash the motherfuckers' heads in with bricks as you go through that circle, and eventually everyone's dead.
Yeah, well, I hope you enjoy more of that.
I probably will. I love how dark and depressing and horrible those games are. So
You would.
everyone else can dislike them, and I will love it. And everyone.
They literally made a game for just you. So you can have that. You can keep that.
You know what? I never agree with Danielle Riendeau, but she's excited for this game, and granted, it's for a completely different reason. It's because there was a gay couple kissing in it, but it doesn't matter. I will take that other person in the world, and we will at least like that game.
Okay.
So, let's see. They showed a game that makes 100% sense, and I don't understand why people are asking questions about it. It's called Death Stranding.
He's got a little wagon. He's got a little robot wagon that follows him around. He's got someone sitting on a throne strapped to his back, and they're all taped up, and it's real fucked up.
So
I saw a crazy, and maybe heard or something, or so watched a video, the theory that the babies that everyone has in their tanks are insurance policies.
Hell
because
yeah.
when the shadows grab you, they basically age you until you die of old age within seconds, but they age the baby too, and the baby grows up to the age you were.
I think that's what happens. I think the babies are your extra lives, and I bet you're gonna be able to mod that fucking baby.
Baby mods, they're the future.
You're gonna be like, I'm gonna put these things on, so when I'm resurrected, I'm faster with less hit points, or some pro con bull. I don't.
It's a baby aging roguelike.
Yeah, I have
If that game ever comes out, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure I'll hate it because I don't like any Kojima's games, but whatever. People are going to love it if it ever comes out.
I never play them. I might actually try out this one. Like, my main issue with Metal Gear is, like, I feel like I need to start at the first, and I really don't want to start at the first. So therefore, I own most of them, and I just never play it. So, but I kind of like the tone of this game, and I like shit that wants to be weird and crazy. So there's a lot of
Also
appeal
has
in
this
that.
sense of humor with like the babies throwing the thumbs up towards you and shit. Like
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. Where are we at? They showed the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay, I'm into that. I
Yeah.
didn't think if you had told me, a couple of weeks ago even that I would be into a Resident Evil 2 remake, I would have told you to fuck off. But man, that thing looks real good, even if the Claire and Leon models look a little weird.
Yeah, I never played that game, but I did have a roommate who played it a whole lot that I watched played it.
Okay, that's probably actually the preferred way to do it because that thing controlled like shit.
Yeah, so like I don't know, I might pick it up. I think I might own it for GameCube or something. I know I owned a few of the Resident Evil games for GameCube. I don't think I got all of them though, but
I will bet it's probably if they did a remake, I'll bet it's on Steam right now for $2.
And then they showed, none of this is in order. I need to not do that. They also showed Spider-Man, which, that costume still really sucks. But and I'm not super fond of all the character models in it. But you know what? That web slinging looks pretty good.
I was super high on it when we were watching the trailer, and the more that I think about it, the less like I wasn't a day one buy, but I was definitely buying that game when I finished that trailer. And now the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I hope it's got a demo. I might do a Redbox on that.
So I'm friends with some guy on Twitter. I think I became friends with him through the Bamfcast community or something. I'm not 100% sure. But he tweeted today that he was thinking about buying a bunch of copies and asking the best way to give shit away for free on Twitter. And I'm like, I'm just going to follow you all day on that Twitter thing to see if I can score a free copy because I never was going to buy this game on day one, and I don't know if I will buy it, period, because I'm not really a Spider-Man guy, but you know what? If someone gave me a copy, I'd probably play through that game.
This probably isn't a good analogy, but the first thing that comes to mind is the Joker parade in the '89 Batman movie, where he's just going down the street throwing out money, and everyone's like, "Yeah, the fucking Joker!" But Spider-Man turns out to suck, and then he poisons everyone.
I doubt the game's gonna suck. Like I think a lot of the people feeling the hype for it are still gonna like it, but I also think it's like just judging from that villain scene they showed. Like I think it's gonna be campy in a way that I'm not going to be able to enjoy.
I can get into campy Spider-Man.
I guess I'm just not much of a Spider-Man fan. God, I just don't like anything anyone else does.
Nope, that's what aging does to you.
Yeah. Oh well. That's really most of my list. Like I have miscellaneous notes on the other conferences.
I'll run through Bethesda real quick. Fallout 64, whatever it is exactly what we thought it was. There will be no NPC humans in the game because I'm sure they're going to say, well, everybody's dead from the bombs. And it's like, well, yeah, but not everyone is in a vault or came from a vault or whatever in any of the other games. But okay, whatever. You guys want to do your survival thing. They say, that you're not going to be getting griefed with the nukes and whatever. Vaya con Dios with all of you guys. I'll see you for Fallout 6 and fucking 2038 or whatever. Doom Infinite? Is that what they're calling it?
Eternal, I think.
Eternal. It sounds suspiciously like a we want to make Doom a games as service thing, which makes me nervous.
Yeah.
But it's going to be Doom 2 Hell on Earth in some capacity. I'm sure there will be another 160 gigs of multiplayer, unless they've learned their lesson, which I hope they have. It's optional on Switch, so maybe they have figured it out, or maybe it's just the hardware limitations that made them change their status on that. Starfield is going to be a thing at some point. I think this Prey DLC and updates are cool. I don't know that I liked that game enough to go back to it, but they're cool. And Elder Scrolls 6 is, well, it seems like it's about 7 or 8 years out.
So I feel like they showed that trailer for people like me who are deathly afraid they're never going to make a really kick-ass Elder Scrolls or Fallout single-player game again, since, like it's just been the Elder Scrolls Online for years, a game that I don't want to play. And, now they announced this Fallout 76 thing and multiplayer-only game. So, like, to me, like them showing that island, which is probably the Somerset Isles, or whatever the fuck the High Elves live. I always forget the name of it. But that is the primary island in it, unless they're going back to Daggerfall for some reason. Because Daggerfall was an island.
We'll find out in, 2025? Now, they got a lot of games to make before that thing comes out, but Todd Howard mentioned next gen a number of times.
Yeah. Well, he said Starfield was going to be next gen, and that Elder Scrolls 6 was going to come out after Starfield. So,
So here's my concern. Like, I'm not ready to buy new consoles, but I recognize that I didn't show up late to the party on here, but I waited probably 6 months to a year to get my PS4. I recognize that these things are going on 6 years old at this point. So yeah, it's probably about time for a new set of consoles. Here's what worries me. It seems like it's been going away a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but how expensive are these things going to be if video cards are still $750 when they're making these?
Well, I mean, it's not the parts of the video card that are driving it up, right? It's the fucking demand for them.
Mm-hmm. But what if the Bitcoin miners do not go away by the time they're ramping up production on these things? Are they just going to take a $400 bath on every console? That doesn't seem likely. Or is it just going to have to be hugely underpowered from a GPU perspective?
I mean, I have to imagine whenever they do the deals with NVIDIA or Radeon or whoever, or AMD, I guess, whoever wins that contract, that's going to be built into the price. Like, I think when these consoles released, and my memory might be wrong on this, but I think Sony was making a tiny profit margin initially. I think Xbox might have been taking a small hit, and I think Nintendo, they always get profit.
Well, and these, from what I understand, most of the video card companies aren't happy about the fact that, all their hardware is going to Bitcoin miners. By and large, they seem like they're not happy about that. They would prefer people with PCs and, Macs or whatever. Macs run on those? I don't know. They want enthusiasts to be able to get their hardware. But on the other hand, if Sony comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to contract you for 2 million of these units, and we'll give you $300 a piece for them," whereas you could spend your time, because there's an opportunity cost to accepting that deal, you could spend your time making the same thing and selling them for, let's say it's only $600. They have a responsibility to shareholders to maximize profits and to get double for something, which, at that point it's still basically a guaranteed sale. I don't know you can sell that.
Is NVIDIA and AMD both public companies?
I guess that's a good question. I would have to look that up. I guess that'll be, Jake is full of shit if we ever come back. So yeah, there's your homework, everyone. Go find out if those are public companies. But still, that is if you're talking 800,000 units, a difference of $300 is what, 2.4 million? 24 million? 24 million? Yeah, $24 million. Like, that's a lot to just politely say no to. So I don't know. It makes me nervous, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, well, time will tell. So, I guess we're at the end of the show. Just to kind of go over it, I know last time we said we were going to probably just take the summer off. We really don't know when we're coming back or if we're coming back. We just know we need a break from this and some time off. The world has me stressed out, and I think we're both just tired of trying to be excited and think critically about video games, and would like to just sit back and enjoy what we're doing.
It'll be nice to be able to, say go play Dragon Age Origins again, a game that I thought I hated until this podcast. it'll be nice to just be able to watch reruns of House if you want, or
Yeah.
So we need a little break.
Yeah. Pressure's off, and it's like I really want to come to this show excited and enthused, and I haven't been that for a while. So I need to. If I come back, I will be excited and enthused. I guess is all my only point in bringing that up. But anyway, so I really appreciate everyone following us and hanging out, and I'll still be on my other once a month podcasts, and I'll be, we're not shutting down the Discord or anything, and I'll be around there. And
How does one find additional Discords? I'm not saying that like everybody should go find one and hang out in ours, but there's like no way to search them aside from if you already know a place, right?
Yeah.
Huh, that's weird. Anyway.
Yeah, like most podcast communities seem to have them. A lot of the Patreons I donate kind of give me access to them, but like I donate to Movies with Mikey or whatever they're called, Film Joy, and I don't know who any of those people are. I don't really talk to them, so I kind of just hang around the podcast communities of people I already know and talk to, and people who are used to me just being a grumpy asshole. So yeah, Dimebag asking chat. Wow, last episode ever? Maybe. I don't know. Last episode for a while though, at minimum. So maybe a couple months, maybe a year, maybe forever. So.
But I would be remiss if if it does come to that, I still do want to take the opportunity to thank you for doing this with me, for putting all that work in to edit all the shows, for doing the website and setting up the Discord and all that stuff. Joey, Randy, Scott, Josh, thanks all you guys for coming on. It was great having all of you. And this has been really fun. I'm really glad we did this.
It's been great. Like, I didn't really know you at all before we started this, except for how much you disagreed with me in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
And you're usually, had some jokes to tell, and then you were on the game club, and I'm like, man, I bet that would make for some interesting conversation, like if we disagree a lot and argued about it, and I think it has, and I appreciate you having been through this whole thing these last few years with me, so through all the weird drama bullshit that happens and all the good times, so well, and thank you to the audience too for joining us.
Yeah.
It's meant a lot. It's I'm not always as appreciative as I've been, but it's also hard to fathom that anyone wants to listen to what I have to say, let alone a couple hundred people a month.
If I wasn't being paid by your wife, I wouldn't even be listening to you. She's been paying me this whole time, dude.
Holy fuck. Mm-hmm. God damn, she could have been paying more on bills this whole time. Fuck this shit.
Yeah. She actually makes twice what she tells you she does.
God damn it.
Because half that shit coming straight to me, buddy.
God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking.
That's why I'm a proud renter of a one-bedroom apartment. Right next to the train station.
You're just making mattresses out of your goddamn money.
Uh-huh. Anyway, yes, thanks to everyone. Keep hanging out in the Discord. Thanks to everyone for coming out and chat. And I would laugh very hard if we did this episode and then, in addition to the one review we have, we got like 8. That would make me laugh very hard.
Yeah.
But you don't need to rate and review us for the time being. So you got that off your chest.
But if you want to keep up with us, I advise the Discords. Because I don't think I can tolerate social media right now. It's too hard for me. And the Discords, at least we stay light in conversation and that we're sticking to our fandoms. So I'll try and put another link up to it on Twitter or something here in the next day or so. But thanks everyone for joining us. And this is us power down the system for the moment. Bye. So something I didn't think about while we were doing this is show titles.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm going to read a couple since I was the only one who did any of them.
Good job.
Huh? We got season finale. We have wall-to-wall boxes. We have nice. My neighbors are got to be so tired of fucking hearing that, especially between it being super loud on the TV the last 3 days. My ex Monica. And that's what happens to everyone. This one's got sheep. Jack and Dexter, and baby aging roguelike.
So initially, I like the Noise and My Ex Monica.
I think my ex Monica works.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks everyone for showing up live. See you later. Maybe. I don't know.